Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Nah, I'm here.
This is Seeking Me Productions bring you another TV season review.
This is a particular series that I was looking forward to actually talking about because I actually quite fell in love with this particular animated series in general. I'm talking about Hazbin Hotel.
Hazbin Hotel is bringing a lot of inspiration to a lot of up-and-coming independent animators. Something that we hope to bring to the table on this channel.
More of that going down the road, but as far as we need to go ahead and talk about, let's focus in on Hazbin Hotel itself. The story itself centers itself around the character of Charlie Morningstar. Yes, that Morningstar, if you know what I mean. Because this particular series centers itself around hell itself and the citizens that live within it.
This show was greenlit after the massively popular pilot episode that you can watch freely on YouTube. And it was picked up by A24, which is now being distributed through Amazon Prime Video.
This show is quite something, where it doesn't pull any particular punch. It doesn't, care about pulling any punches whatsoever. They go hard on almost every aspect they possibly can, and the story is so interesting when you consider that the character of Charlie is an individual who happens to be the princess of hell, trying to rehabilitate her citizens or her subjects, the sinners down there, to try and rise above their station and actually enter the pearly gates.
Yeah, the show revolves heavily with the conflict between heaven and hell, rather than not a sinner of the soul can actually be brought rehabilitated into joining as a life of heaven as an angel, or just living up there. So
it answers quite a few interesting questions around the its upbringing. This is definitely something that could have just been like a quick gag show and shock and awe and all that, but no, Hazbin Hotel, just like its a series that comes after it.
It's more like a companion
series.
Yeah,
a companion series of A Hell of a Boss. Really takes the time to actually ask some deeper questions of his characters and of the audience itself. Questions like, what does it really mean to be a sinner? Is it true that that hell is forever? Are we really going to go down those particular roads?
Or a more pressing question: what exactly gets you to heaven?
Yeah, with the way that this show decided to go down that road, I'm asking those questions too.
And here you'll expect this show, have a series like this that show all the depravity and the gratuitous violence,
which it does in quite a few spades.
Yes, it's every episode, but it also has a very wholesome demeanor to it as well, especially when it comes to fleshing out the lore of the many lords of hell. There's a lot of regret, a lot of rethinking about their past lives and how they got down there in the first place.
Again, going right into characters, you truly are thrown into quite the roller coaster ride with almost everybody you're introduced to. First and foremost, Charlie herself. This could have been just a one-of-the-mill glamour ditzy individual that is always about sunshine and rainbows, but no, she truly is a character who you really do have to sit down and actually gravitate as to why she thinks the way she does.
No, she's taking here she is. She's taking a very strong step forward and trying to reshape like freaking millennia's worth of societal damage.
Yeah,
and how they dive deep into apparently she has some very deep family issues with her father
and her mother.
That which it was such a neglectful type of upbringing to the point that it's very weird for a person who has such an upbeat demeanor to live down in hell all her life.
It's so crazy. It really does make you wonder whether or not is everything so black and white.
Yeah, like especially when it goes to her girlfriend / partner in this figure, Daggy.
I really did actually like where it was going with this character. I feel as though some of her plot point beats are concepts that I actually kind of saw coming, and especially the way they actually wrote them going down in her storyline. But it was still an enjoyable character to actually get to know.
Yeah, like she's very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Very supportive
To a fierce state.
Mm-hmm. Almost to almost Stockholmish. Like
Stockholmish into the way that is also a way that you do see her as covering, do the point of covering things up.
Yeah, her storyline is like one of the big major twists in the show, but it does like
it plays by numbers. You actually you see it coming.
Yeah, but for what it's worth, she is loyal and she shows that very much. So, one of the more fan favorite characters, Angel Dust.
Ah, yes, Angel Dust, a very lustful individual, and actually getting to know Angel. This is definitely a character in which, again, they could have been a throwaway gag character where it's only just about the sex and depravity, but no, there's a lot going on beneath the surface with him.
I will argue Angel Dust is pretty much the heart of the show.
Very much so.
Because the Angel Dust, the first person they try to bring into this hotel to try to redeem their soul. And the thing is, what we start seeing a lot more of this character.
It's a character who's built up on the whole concept of addiction. And almost all the parts of where that actually might lead. Yeah, they pretty much embody that concept.
Yeah, and a lot of domestic abuse towards these characters. The show goes into very heavy subject matter. And I can see a lot of people seeing themselves in Angel Dust, and it's quite understandable how this character became such a massively popular, almost the face of the show itself.
In a lot of ways, probably even to a greater extent more than its actual main character. But at the same time, I feel as though almost everybody pulls their weight as far as what they're bringing to the party. Going forward into the other characters, one of the more antagonistic characters that ends up becoming more of part of the gang, Serpentious. He was really funny and interesting when he was first brought in, but he grows on you.
Mm-hmm. One of those characters that you think the way they went, it's very understandable where they decide to go with this character, especially when it almost is one of those redemption characters storylines that's seen a mile away, but it's done just as tastefully well, especially in the show Down to Hell. But yeah, it's very endearing. It'll be interesting how his storyline unfolds,
especially where it ended up from this last season. I'm really gearing up to see where this is going to go.
And some of the other characters that populate not only Hazbin Hotel, but Hell the Boss are the many Lords of Hell, and one of the major Lords of Hell in this series that is actually more of a co-partner towards the whole project is Alistair.
Yeah, this is such an interesting character, individual that seems to have came out of nowhere, even within the actual concepts of the Lord of Hell in the series. Alistair is very much the behind the scenes workings of greater evil, or if not greater threat, that's bound to shake up everything and everyone around him.
Yes, you see it's going so far into this show that we have Lucifer Morningstar, who's also a character in the show, but you also have other Lords of Hell. We start seeing the underworkings and probably the storyline that's unfolding, almost like a takeover is happening. It's
a shakeup of the old regime, as they actually placed it within the series itself, of the original older powers and these newer groups that are trying to make their way on the scene. And Alistair is very much heading a lot of the newer aspects that's coming in and out.
And he sees Charlie's Hotel as some way of trying to navigate his way into this possible new future. This is only a season 1, but season 1 it showed a lot. Especially we're seeing the other side of afterlife spectrum of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
One of basically like season one villains as of right now that we saw.
Such an interesting take, to think of characters from heaven as being the bad guys, but it's not necessarily something that's not hasn't been already done. Yeah, and that's where that's such a interesting thing to take. Kind of making audiences realize the concept of what is an antagonist and what is a villain. Just because you're an antagonistic figure doesn't necessarily always mean that you're supposed to be the most baddest and evilest individual around. It just so means that you're a force that stands against the protagonist. And in this particular case, the protagonist just happens to be individuals from down below.
Mm-hmm. But bring it back to the point. So this is an animated series, anime production by distributed by A24 for Amazon Prime. The pilot pilot and this series was created by Vivian Madrena.
Mm-hmm.
People know her from her YouTube channel VivziePop, and you would not expect know that this was from an independent production.
No, it is so clean in its animation, so incredibly crisp and so fluid in almost everything. Each working. This is something that I honestly wouldn't have been shocked if this came from some of the major bigger studios, i.e. Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers, or Nickelodeon, Paramount. Disney themselves could have had some hand in this, even though they wouldn't touch this with a 39.5-inch pole.
No, they would not.
God, I mean,
and the basic and how the premise of it makes you think it's one of those shows where why wasn't this created before? But
yeah, I could give you a good, but just by the premise and the concept alone of this show, I could understand. Common sense would tell you why this show took so long to come out.
But yeah, even the art direction is the juxtaposition of it of the series.
Yeah.
You have the characters that are like human-esque.
Yeah, I see a lot of animalistic characters brought into humanistic forms and very cool. Gothic, new age styles and aesthetics placed within here. It's actually very interesting. It's a unique style in and of this particular creator's own, and it leaves it very much to the eye to be appreciated.
And especially have a nice, good, distinct color palette.
Yes,
color palette. Valentine's Day colors.
Yep, and outline design. That's such a to have a strong, distinct outline and finish like that. That's something that's very highly appreciated.
Especially when Hal is able to just have all this on a visual spectrum, while also balancing the different type of genres it can be. Like this show is a black comedy, action, musical.
The songs on this show, my God, it's so catchy. I love some, especially when you get this personal character balance.
The show, the quality of the songs are just as they stand to tell as some of the best in Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And and you cannot just take our word for it, as many of these songs that we know that's from the show are ranking very high on billboards and other musical charts.
Yep.
So the show, the people with the limited scope in which they.
Let's just put it this way. I wouldn't be shocked if later down the road we actually get a Cinemax feature film coming out of this. It's possible, and especially these days.
Yeah, but hey, we these are I can deal with another season or a couple more.
Give me at least 3 or 4. I'll rock with that. Mm-hmm. Especially if you know where the story is going. At least if you've got the makings of what it's actually detailed. Yeah, I'm sticking around for the ride.
Yeah. So far with this season 1, it's a strong showing.
Yes.
And to point that, I say that season 1 is a great series.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're also if we were to also factor in the Helva Boss companion show that you can watch freely on YouTube, which is weird, that high quality on YouTube free.
It's so interesting that we're living in a time like this.
That's also a great series. Mm-hmm. Almost amazing.
Again, it could get to the amazing part if it starts showing even stronger storytelling plot points and gives a little bit more intrigue into the ins and outs of how it's making its own development of the series. But as it is right now, great is just where it's at.
Mm-hmm. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been Seeking Media Productions. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. How are you a fan of Hazbin Told the Hill? Are you watching also Hell of a Boss?
Let us know. And of course, hit us up on our other parts.
Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
And because there's only so many hours left in the day and not enough hours left to do it to, bring it all to you. But we're trying.
Yeah. Again, my name is Adam.
And I'm here.
Thank you for watching.